Hi everyone, Ed DeCosta here, your Catalyst coach. This is my video blog entry for Wednesday, September the 14th, 2011. I'm sitting here on the back deck of my home. It's an absolutely gorgeous late summer, early fall day, and I thought what a great spot to sit and visit with you briefly about one of my favorite subjects, and that is books, reading. I talk to people quite a bit about what they're reading because I think it's very revealing of who they are, what their mindsets are, and in fact it's a great indicator of their personal and professional success, the things that they read. As a part of those conversations, often we exchange recommendations. What books have had the biggest impact on your life? I've been asked to create a blog with my top recommended books. So I decided to limit it to 8. So we're going to call them the Great 8. One of my favorite authors, in fact, he's the author of one of my favorite books, Matthew Kelly, said something very, very profound. Matthew said, "Books change lives. What we read today walks with us tomorrow." Now, I couldn't agree more with that sentiment. In fact, when people say to me from time to time, "Boy, where did you get that, Ed? I really love that thought. I really love that concept. I love the way you put that." Quite often I can refer them to a book where I believe I've gotten it, but as often as that, I can't even put a finger on where I got it because I've read so much and there's such a depth of material that's out there for you that you retain the information, the knowledge, the wisdom, but you may not, in my case, you may not be able to point to precisely where you got it. So if you've ever heard me saying something wise and profound, chances are pretty good that I stole it from one of the books that I'm about to tell you about. So we'll go in order of publication. The first one I will mention is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Very, very profound book. The second, Making Life a Masterpiece by O.S. Martin. Kind of a challenging read given the language that he uses. It's, again, written over 100 years ago, but very, very profound, wonderful book. The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. You've probably heard of this one. Most people have heard of it, but most people haven't read it. So highly recommend that you read it. This one I'm fairly certain that you've heard of by Dale Carnegie himself, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Again, written a long, long time ago, but very, very applicable today in the 21st century as well. One I've blogged about specifically and recommend highly is Napoleon Hill's absolute classic, Think and Grow Rich. What's important to note, for those of you who haven't read this is not about capitalism. This is not just about monetary riches. He uses the word rich in the title, and it probably would be better if he didn't, because he's talking about the riches of life, not simply the richness of your bank account or your wallet. It's far beyond how to get rich kind of a book. Really, really powerful book. Highly recommend it. John C. Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Some of you know that I am in a partnership with John. I count him as a friend and a mentor of mine, and he has written many, many great books, and this happens to be my favorite. Again, another one I'm certain that you've heard of by Stephen Covey. This is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've been using this in my own life and teaching my children and my clients, people who worked for me when I was in the corporate world, these habits. And I think they're profound and they're applicable to everyone. And then last and certainly not least, the man that I mentioned earlier. I've actually met Matthew a few times, just a fantastic man. Has written quite a number of fantastic books, but this is my favorite of Matthew's, and it is The Rhythm of Life. It's about work-life balance and being in touch with your inner purpose. Again, in the interest of time, I can't do justice to Matthew's book or any of them, but I highly recommend that you read them. Now, reading is a habit. I try to spend at least 30 minutes a day reading. Not every day do I get this done, but there are some days that I get to read for several hours, and I love those days. And I don't just read personal development, self-help, success, so-called success books. I read fiction as well. I read a variety of things, but I try to glean benefits from what other people have experienced in their lives, and then taken the time to write. If you think about it, if you've never written a book, and I'm in the process of writing a book, but if you think about how much time and effort it takes to write a book, imagine if you wrote a book. Wouldn't you want other people to at least take a look at what it is you wrote and you thought was worthy of being put in print? Certainly these 8 books have done that for me. They've been worth far more than the time that I invested in them, and I owe a debt of gratitude to each and every one of these men for the effort that they put into to writing these books. So, read something today. Recommend these, but whatever you do, please keep reading, and wherever you find yourself, make it a great day.